بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيد المرسلين سيد محمد وآله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. This is the second time I've been in this seat during the last hour or so. Alhamdulillah. Once again, I express my thanks and appreciation to Sheikh Amin for the work he's been doing, establishing uh, this institution, all of you who support it as students or donors or well-wishers or teachers. What you're doing is great. And I tried to express just how significant it was a few minutes ago. So I don't want to bore you because some of you, I see you're here a second time. So I don't want to bore you with that again. But I will say that Alhamdulillah, we have a beautiful religion. I converted to Islam myself way back in the day. It's so far back in the day, it's night back there. In 1977, it was a very good year. There's quite a few people converted that year. Like Sheikh Hamza Yusuf converted in 1977. I believe Dr. Sherman Jackson converted in 1977. Yusuf Islam converted in 76, 77. Sheikh Noor Keller converted in 1977. There's several others. It was a very good year, as they say, because of them, not me. May Allah bless all of you. I think in a few minutes, because you have the tafsir, and just in a few minutes, just, we know this horrible tragedy that transpired in New Zealand. And I think that it provides a great opportunity because we see the outpouring of support from people who aren't Muslim, both there in New Zealand, here in the United States, all over the world. Our masjid in Oakland, California, people brought big wreath of flowers to the masjid. I was blessed to uh, give the Jummah sermon at the MEC in Morton Grove, and assembly of Jewish rabbis were there. So there were maybe 10, 12 rabbis there with signs expressing their support for the Muslims. And, and I think it's a great opportunity for us to just remind people of the teachings of Islam and just how they provide a framework for working beyond these racist, hyper-nationalistic ways of viewing human societies. That, for example, we all know the saying of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, يا أيها الناس إنا خلقناكم من ذكر وأنثى وجعلناكم شعوبا وقبائل لتعارفوا إن أكرمكم عند الله أتقاكم إن الله عليم خبير. Humanity. So Allah is addressing all of us. Not أيها المسلمون يا أيها الذين آمنوا يا أيها الناس. Humanity, we've created you all from a single pair. And all of the descendants of that pair have a basic human dignity. وَلَقَدْ كَرَّمْنَا بَنِي آدَمَ. That transcends religion, it transcends race, ethnicity. In the Prophet ﷺ, the funeral bier of a Jewish person passes by and the Prophet stands up reverently out of respect. They say, oh, it's a Jew. أَلَيْسَتْ بِنَفْسٍ. Is it not a human soul? Sallallahu alayhi wasallam. So these are the teachings of our religion. So we're all one human family, and this is a great time to reiterate that, because people want to listen. People want to listen. وَجَعَلْنَاكُمْ شُعُوبًا وَقَبَائِلَ لِتَعَارُفُوا. And there are different nations and different tribes And these different nations and tribes, they might have different skin tones and hair textures and eye colors and tall, short, different physical features. But that's lita'arufu, to have mutual recognition. And that the creative power of Allah, from that single pair, He can create all of this diversity, all these different skin tones, and all these different hair textures, and all these different eye colors, and all of it's beautiful. It's all beautiful. And so the ta'arufu, so it points to Allah and the power of Allah and the creative genius of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And not that you, as Yusuf Ali mentions in his commentary, not that you despise and hate each other. So these racists, they say these differences are the basis of hatred, claims of superiority, inferiority. So usually when the exegetes mention this verse, they'll mention the saying of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Not all of them, but you'll see some of them bring the hadith. إن الله لا ينظر إلى صوركم وأموالكم ولكن ينظر إلى قلوبكم وأعمالكم. That Allah doesn't look at your physical forms. Allah doesn't care if you're black or white. Allah doesn't care if you have long hair, short hair, straight hair, kinky hair, curly hair. And Allah la yanzuru. Allah doesn't look at it. Allah doesn't consider any of that. Wa amwalikum. Allah doesn't care if you're rich or poor. Allah doesn't care if you drive a Tesla or if you drive a 1975 Ford Escort. That's mashallah. Allah doesn't care. Wa amwalikum. What does Allah consider? ولكن ينظر إلى قلوبكم وأعمالكم. Allah looks at your hearts and He looks at your deeds. The hearts are all the same color. As they say, we all bleed red. You could be black or white, brown, yellow on the outside. Everyone has a red heart. Same color. وَأَعْمَالِكُمْ, no color. What color are our deeds? That's what Allah considers. And so this is a great time for Muslims to introduce these kinds of ways of thinking about society, thinking about race and ethnicity, introducing these to people. Because they're hungry. We can see, look at when you see these white New Zealand folks like weeping. What is that saying? There's a hunger in their heart. They don't like this. Right? There's someone from their ranks. We should weep as Muslims when these fools in Paris are murdering people in a theater just trying to enjoy themselves. We should weep. And we shouldn't like it. And we should understand that this is a great opportunity for us to come together with those people who are weeping for what their people, one of their people, has done. Even though we believe, we don't believe one person bears the burden of someone else's sin, but there's still that identity of one of us. That thing happened, right? There's a mass shooting in New Zealand. What's the first thing the Muslim? Ya Allah, please let this not be a Muslim. And which is sad. You say, Yani, don't let it be any human being. It's a Martian or someone. We're united. It's Bani Adam, one of our children, one of our brothers in humanity, was so dehumanized that he reached this degree of depravity. It should pain us as much as it pains us when a Muslim does something like that in Paris or here or there or wherever. It should be painful for us. And so there are people reaching out, In akramakum indallahi atqakum. So the most noble of you with Allah is the most God conscious, the most righteous. Again, there's no color to that. And so we should be encouraging people to be righteous. We should be encouraging people get beyond these color things. Even Muslims, we trip up on it. You know, someone comes to marry our daughter, like, is he white? Not Caucasian white, but is he a light-skinned Indian medical doctor? Or is he a dark-skinned? He could be president. Forget medical doctors. No. So we have to get beyond this stuff and then take that to people. So in conclusion, my time's up. I just remind you, myself, of what two great historically significant individuals, they said the same thing. Malcolm X, when he went for his pilgrimage and wrote back and saw the racial harmony amongst the Muslims. And not, he noticed people, the Bosnians with the Bosnians, but when they prayed, everyone prayed together. No one was, to use what some young people might say, no one was tripping if an African was playing next to a blonde-haired, blue-eyed Bosnian. Like, this, everyone was interacting as brothers, as sisters. And so what did Malcolm say? Perhaps if America could examine Islam, it could move beyond the race issue. It's in his autobiography. Many of you have read it. And another great historical individual, Arnold Toynbee. Arnold Toynbee, in an essay, Civilization and Islam, he said that there are two things that the Muslims can offer Western civilization: a cure to the problem of alcohol. So some of you recently saw the study, no amount of alcohol is safe. Anyone see that? And that the countries with the lowest alcohol consumption rate, they're all Muslims. Number one was Pakistan, according to their research. And we know the elite in Pakistan, some of them drink, but it's 1%. In Bangladesh, I think, was number 2. Morocco was number 7. But all of the top countries were Muslim. And so this is consistent with what Toynbee, why don't Muslims drink? Because it's haram. Khalas. So, and so this is one thing. And then the other thing, second thing, so Toynbee, Arnold Toynbee. The second thing, a cure to the race problem. Because he noted that Muslims and Muslim societies, there's not a problem of race. There's a problem of color consciousness. But there's no Muslim cemetery. Where's the most segregated place in America? The cemetery. You don't bury black folks in white cemeteries because no other white people, they'll go out of business. That's a fact. So this is the most segregated place in America is the cemetery. And so Muslim, yeah, we mentioned, yeah, you're too dark, you can't marry my daughter. So that kind of nonsense goes on sometimes, not amongst pious religious people, but the awam, the common people. But there's no Muslim country where anyone concerns if there's a black man in the cemetery next to their grandmother. No one would deny if the greatest literary figure in American history were a black man, I guarantee you, some people would protest, oh, he really wasn't that great, right? There's no Muslim who denies the greatness of Jahiz. Jahiz was a black man. Muslims don't care. He was a great adib. He was a great literary figure. That's what's important. And so Islam, when we come together as a family. And Toynbee noticed that. And West Africa, I'm way over my time. This is developing into a full-blown lecture. Let me just say, it's a great time to go out there and introduce Islamic teachings concerning race to the wider society, because there's this outpouring of sympathy in the aftermath of the action of this white supremacist. Demonstrates people are looking for answers and they're tired of this stuff. And Islam has an answer, starting philosophically, in principle, in ideas, even if they're not perfectly articulated in Muslim societies. Now is the time to go out there and introduce these ideas to a hungry humanity. So may Allah bless you. I apologize, Sheikh Amin, for the 10 minutes becoming 20 minutes. Uh, no, no, no. Uh, and it's a great honor to be here. And for all of you who are students, teachers, faculty, donors, supporters, uh, what you're doing is great, and keep doing it because it's working. Right? 2 years ago, you weren't in this building. You're in a much smarter place. Probably 2 or 3 years ago, maybe some of the very distinguished faculty members you have now weren't here. They're here now. Maybe the number of students you had 2 or 3 years ago isn't the number you have now. So there's growth, there's a vitality, there's energy, and there's vision. And so when those things are undergirded by sincerity, great things will happen. And so try to stay sincere, stay focused, do it for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that growth will continue, bi'idhnillah, by the leave of Allah, and you will do great, great, great things. May Allah bless you. It's an honor to be here. We thank Sheikh Amin for his wonderful hospitality, both in his house and here at Darul Qasim. And it's an honor to meet some of the faculty members, Dr. Shukri and others, and hope to be back here soon and to spend more time and to benefit more from all of you. Jazakumullah khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.